we go. I'm hitting the live button.
Okay.
I've done it. I've hit it. I hit the live button. We should be going live. I'm waiting patiently because I never know how long it actually takes to go live, and I'm too lazy to create a specific intro. So we should be going live. I do hear echo, so I don't know if you can fix that for me, Kazoo.
Yeah. I had the page open.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
so
cool. But you can hear me. You can hear me. Cool. So, welcome everyone. Hopefully you can see me and TheYellowKazoo. Her channel is linked in the description below. I am Andres Restart. We are doing a Nintendo podcast that we try to do every Sunday night. Not at 9 p.m. Eastern anymore. Perhaps, and this is, you know, it's not set in stone yet, but maybe 8 p.m. Eastern moving forward. Just a bit earlier, just so some people can go to sleep earlier. To see the show.
People including you.
People including me, because I now have to get up early in the mornings, Monday mornings. So we're doing things a little bit earlier. Hopefully that works out for people. I don't know if it's always going to be at this time. I'm sure you guys have noticed that there's been quite a bit of fluctuation with the podcast lately, but we try to do some sort of live show every week. But anyways, this is a Nintendo podcast. We do it every Sunday night usually, and we're going to be talking about Nintendo as we usually do. This time we're going to be talking about a potential February Nintendo Direct. Why? Because, well, I felt like it was a good time to start talking about it. We are very close to the end of the month, and the speculation's already rising. I already put up my own personal speculation video. Maybe it's not my official predictions yet, but there's already a video talking about a Direct from me, specifically just from me, yesterday, but I'm going to be talking about with Kazoo and you guys in the chat tonight. We're also going to be talking about a potential Xenoblade 3 tease, some sort of project that may be getting revealed next month. We're going to be talking about that and how that may be tied into a Nintendo Direct. We're also going to be talking about Nintendo 64 Online and how apparently Nintendo is improving on it. And also, we're going to be touching on Pokémon Legends Arceus. It's coming out this Friday. And while I'm not going to delve specifically into spoilers, there have been impressions coming out, both legally and illegally. And a lot of things are being said about this game. And most of them are pretty positive, which is nice to hear. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Yeah, anyways, guys, this is TheYellowKazoo. Can you guys hear her? Make sure she can be heard clearly and everything. Let me know, guys, if that's working in the chat. She is a Nintendo YouTuber and streamer as well. You can check her out by checking her channel, which should be linked in the description below. How are you doing tonight, Kazoo?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm TheYellowKazoo, if you don't know me. I am, as Andres said, I am a Nintendo streamer, basically. Got my little cat here. She's very naughty. Anyone from my channel knows that I'm obsessed with her, and she's the best. But anyway, we're talking about Nintendo. On my channel, I'm focusing on more Mario content and then Splatoon also, and I'm also actually trying to focus on cooking streams more so this year. I'm gonna see how that works out. So
I like cooking.
Anyway. What?
I like cooking.
Cooking is legit.
Yeah. I've actually thought about doing at some point or other it'd be fun to do a Breath of the Wild cooking show. Making a cooking show, but be it Breath of the Wild centric, right? You know how when you go on the actual cooking channels, it sees a really nice cooking setup. You have all that, you do all that, but the materials are all Breath of the Wild materials. In the center you have a big cauldron or pot thing, and you use all the Breath of the Wild music and you go for it. That would be fun. I know some of you are probably aware when we made the dubious food cake thing.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that was awesome. Hey, all you guys who are saying in the chat that Andres should be invited to the Spawncast, tell them.
I wouldn't mind.
Tell them that you want him on.
I'm always down for discussion. If we're gonna be talking about Nintendo, I'm your guy. But let's check in on the chat before we jump into the topics here. David Q, you were the first one. Congratulations. I wish I could give you a trophy. I am giving you a trophy, a metaphorical one. Here you go. Congratulations. Being first is important. I'm not being facetious. Mario Cisneros, ready for some good discussion. I hope you are, my friend. I am also hoping for some good discussion tonight. Sweet Life of Dio Brando. Pog, what's up? Birdmai, I combined your name. Birdman Senpai, hello there. Thank you for modding, buddy. Natsu, good evening. B. James, I could see a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or export teaser in the February Direct, but no Breath of the Wild 2. Well, that is I would say, a semi-reasonable, I mean, it's not even semi, I think that is a reasonable expectation. My expectations are slightly different, but it can go either way, and we'll talk about that later tonight. Let's see here, Kitano Tatsu, hello there, I'm doing well. What'd you say, Kazoo?
Splatoon 3, please.
It's happening, don't you worry, that's gonna be the big focus.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know that for a fact, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Sweet Life of Dio Brando. Xenoblade X is my favorite open world game. Xenoblade X is, I would say, underappreciated, mainly because it came out on the Wii U. But it was an incredible open world experience. I'm right there with you. It's one of, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I do look upon it fondly. And I would say, excluding Breath of the Wild, because I played it on Switch, Xenoblade X is my favorite Wii U game. Mario Kart 8's up there too, but again, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe I play a lot, and Breath of the Wild I play a lot, all on Switch. So in terms of like, but excluding those two, which it's a little confusing when you take those into consideration, but like, in terms of like Wii U exclusives, Xenoblade Chronicles X is like the game for me. Like that was the quintessential Wii U experience for me personally. Splatoon's up there as well. There's a couple others, but Xenoblade X is my favorite. Lord Vader, you are here. Hello there. D.E. Fox, good evening. Thank you for modding, buddy. TheYellowKazoo, you're also in the chat, I see. Miss Sean Kelkar, hello there. Josh Coman, yo, what is up? Super Chris, hello. So you're saying everything looks and sounds great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. If we do experience any sort of visual or audio issues, please do let me know. But I'm glad that everything is looking and sounding okay so far, it seems. Hikaru Hoshina, hello there.
Well,
Rescue Squad Culp, hello. Joycey J. You are glad that we stream on Sundays. I'm glad that this is a good wind down for you. Good. It is kind of a nice, I guess, a nice way to end the week. I never really think of it that way. Mainly because my work schedule has never really permitted me to enjoy weekends as a weekend. But things are changing. And you know what? Yeah. That's kind of a nice way of looking at it. The Zesty Car, legally and illegally. Yes, there is both legal and illegal impressions for Pokemon Legends Arceus out there. Probably more illegal than legal right now, but they are out there all over the place, really. Josh Coman, I hope you get invited to the Spawncast one day. I would definitely be interested. You know, some pretty cool people there. I know a few people there. Kazoo, I think you've been on there before, right? I can't hear you.
A couple times.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool people that are on the show, so I would definitely be interested, for sure. Paco Salvador, I've seen the leaks, I won't spoil anything, but the game looks really good, right? I'm actually very pleased with what we've seen so far, and I'm not going to spoil anything in the podcast, guys. Please do not discuss spoilers for Legends Arceus in the chat, but we can allude to it. We can allude to things, and there are things out there. There are already some articles out there coming from Japan. They're saying some positive things about the game. So we will talk about that a little bit. But basically, you know, there's a lot of negativity going towards Legends Arceus because, well, I mean, it's Pokemon. There's always negativity. But as we're getting more and more information about the game, there's a lot of things that are being done with this game. They're looking to be good. Like there's a lot of things that are doing differently with Legends Arceus that are certainly being looked upon as improvements and progression for the Pokemon series. And for me, that is very, very exciting. So yeah, we will get to that. I just kind of want to scroll through the chat here. Birdman Senpai, man, I still remember when Onyx was on top of Andres' chair. Yeah, man, he would always be jumping on there. I think, Kazoo, the last time you were on, we were doing like a kitty off. Yeah, he's rested in peace now, but they were good times. They were good times. Joycey J, there is a Breath of the Wild cookbook. In case you didn't already know, I did not know that, so now I'm going to be looking that up. Thank you for pointing that out, Joycey J. Kim Island, hello there. Paul Dune, hello. Logan LeBlanc, what's up? Yeah, Arceus is just 5 days away. I'm honestly like really pumped for this game. Like I'm really excited for this game. I haven't been this excited for a game since Metroid Dread, so it's been a few months.
Good.
Yeah.
Glad-
Having Hope, hello. Brawls, non-Nintendo question, but do you read My Hero Academia? Asking because of what you're wearing. I do not read the manga, but I am a fan of the series. I have taken a bit of a break from it. I'm actually currently sort of watching season 5 with a friend when we have time sometimes. I am a fan of the series, just to be clear, and I do plan on either watching or reading it to completion at some point or another. It's still ongoing, but yes, I'm a fan. To answer that question. Nishant Kelkar, what are your thoughts on Kid Icarus Uprising? In my opinion, I think it's one of Nintendo's most underrated games and one of my personal faves on 3DS. I kind of stand by your statement. It's definitely, when you say one of Nintendo's most underrated games, there are a lot of games that Nintendo has made that are really good. And underrated, I feel like it's a bit of a subjective perspective. But, I mean, in general, when we're talking about our opinions of games, it is inherently subjective, right? But Kid Icarus Uprising, I do think, got a bit of a bad rap because the way the controls were, you needed to have a good sort of method for using the touchscreen to move around and look, I want to believe. Like, you use that for looking around and aiming. And that was tough. So the 3DS, in a way, you could say, just didn't quite have the appropriate in-house controls to make it work, which is why we saw things like the boat, for example. But the game itself, assuming you can get behind youth controlling the game with 3DS and the way it was, yeah, Kid Icarus Uprising, I would argue, is my favorite 3DS game. There are so many nights I just left the game in the menu and I would fall asleep to that beautiful music. Like, it was just fun. The multiplayer was fun. The combat was cool. The aesthetic, the story, everything about Kid Icarus Uprising, I was all in on. So, like, if they were to ever like have a spiritual successor to that on the Switch or a future system, I think it could go over really, really well.
And put an actual successor to it, not spiritual. Like an actual
Well, yeah,
successor.
I mean, you're right. An actual successor, which in spirit would still be, but yes, I want an actual sequel to Kid Icarus Uprising. You're right. That would be the most ideal. Got a bit of a chat jump here. Let's see. I missed a few things. Hello there, ASAP Rel. How are you? Josh Como saying, similar to the dubious food. Some more cooking things like dubious food would be a fun idea. Yeah, I missed some of those chats from earlier.
And I remember you got your friend who's like some sort of like a chef or something to help you, right?
I have a couple friends that are good at cooking, so yeah.
Well, yeah, but didn't you have her help you?
Yeah.
With it? Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely needed help with that. That was not I could not have done that by myself. No.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Josh Coleman,
cool.
not Nintendo, but okay, this is a different question. Okay. Josh Coleman, Atomy, not Nintendo related, but have you ever considered covering other platforms like Xbox, PlayStation? I feel like some quality Elden Ring content could be pretty sweet. I definitely gonna be getting Elden Ring. I definitely plan on playing it. I don't think I'm really going to stray away from Nintendo anytime on the channel. I've thought about doing it before, but also like I don't really make like let's play content or things like that. Like a lot of my content is very speculative, discussionary, so I don't know really how I could even go about creating content like that. I also am not really super well versed with the Souls series as a whole, like the lore behind it. Like I've played a few of the Souls games and I love them. I would consider myself a fan of the series overall, but I'm not like good enough to like make like theory videos and stuff, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure what kind of content I could do. And I don't stream myself playing games. I know some people have suggested maybe I should do that, but like I don't know, I guess I'm just not a streamer. What?
Maybe you should.
I don't know. I don't know if it would work out for me. Time is an issue. But I will at least at some point give you guys somewhat of my impressions on Elden Ring. You know, maybe I could have touch on it during the podcast and stuff like that. At the very least, we could do something like that. Hello there, Dwan Davis. How you doing? Happy Sunday. Absolutely.
Happy Sunday.
So.
Okay, you have memberships.
Yes, memberships are now active now. For those who are unaware, memberships are now active. You can join as a member. There are 2 different tiers. We already have quite a few members, and that's pretty great. So thank you guys for supporting the channel. But
that's great.
Yeah, you know, it's
Congrats.
awesome. It's awesome. We finally did that. It took forever, but I set it up. So now we're going to talk about the topics. Where should we start? Should we, you know what, let's talk about...
dive right in with the direct.
Yeah. But, you know, before we do, because I think this kind of ties into the direct, let's talk about the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 teaser that I've been getting at. So basically, I'll just tell you what it is. A composer for Xenoblade 1 and 2, Yasunori Mitsuda, states a new project announcements next month if luck permits. So basically, he put out a tweet. It's not in my normal language, but that's what the article suggests here. So basically, you know, there's a hope that an announcement for a project he's working on is going to be happening next month. Now, it's not necessarily for Xenoblade Chronicles. It could, in theory, be something else. It could. But now, let's connect the dots, right? Like, absolutely could be something else, but there is an expectation for 2 different things to happen fairly soon. One of those things is for an announcement for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Why is there an expectation for an announcement for Xenoblade Chronicles 3? Well, that's because a number of industry insiders, for example, Nate the Hate, Jeff Grubb, Imran Khan, all these people have talked about how Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has been deep into development and how they wanted to announce it actually last year, but things got pushed up because of COVID and polishing and such. So you have a major project like this that's been in development for years that they wanted to be out last year. Hasn't been announced yet. You have this composer who's worked on both Xenoblade 1 and 2 who's teasing a project announcement for next month. These things kind of tie in together. In fact, a lot of the industry insiders were kind of hoping and anticipating an announcement at the Game Awards, but Nintendo decided to skip out on the Game Awards. Now things get even more interesting because...
So disappointing. Can we just talk about that for a second?
The Game Awards?
So disappointing. Yes, because they had... The Game Awards was really... I don't know. I thought it was pretty dumb, the Game Awards. Like they had, I mean, you know, they had drag queens there, and then no Nintendo. So it was not very epic.
Yeah, no, the Game Awards was disappointing. Nintendo did skip out on that. But it's kind of one of those things where like, okay, whatever. It is what it is. They just didn't do anything. But
I know.
It kind of actually increases more. It creates a situation where there should maybe be a little bit more reason to have a direct because there weren't any announcements in December.
That is true.
Right? We don't have that many things sort of set in stone yet. There is kind of like a need to make announcements for things. We know about March. We know we're getting Triangle Strategy and Kirby and the Forgotten Land in March. But with this Xenoblade Chronicles 3 thing, maybe it could be announced in a Nintendo Direct. And yesterday I put out my video making my argument for a February Nintendo Direct, and it had nothing to do with the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 thing, but it does sort of coincide with it. My reasoning for why I think there's going to be a February Nintendo Direct is this. If you look at the different Switch years, 2017, Switch came out in March. There's a big January presentation, so it made sense for there not to be a February Direct then. Okay. 2018, there also was not a February Direct. There was a January Direct Mini, and then in March we had a major Nintendo Direct. So you might argue, well, maybe we should just get a Direct in March. Definitely possible, but let me continue on here. 2019, we got a February Direct. 2020, it was a pandemic year, so that there was no normal Directs in 2020, so that's a wash. 2021, we had a February Nintendo Direct. This year, we are getting towards the end of January. It doesn't look like we're getting a Direct next week because we're going to be getting a whole bunch of Legends Arceus news and information. And assuming that holds true, we're going to be going into February with no major sort of presentations. My thinking being that there's going to be a actual Nintendo Direct for February because it's not going to be something. This year should be basically like last year, where well, yes, the pandemic is an element, and Nintendo's still going to be carrying on with their business as pretty much per usual. And because there is no Direct Mini in January, I think that actually implies there's more likely going to be a Direct in February as opposed to March. Because think about what I just said. We can't count 2017 because of the launch year of the Switch. 2018, there wasn't a February Direct, but there was a Direct Mini in January, and then a Direct in March. We didn't get a Direct Mini this January. And then the other years, 2020 is a pandemic year, but the other 2 years, 2021 and 2019, there were no Directs in January or mini ones, but we still had a major February Direct in February. So point is, because there's no Direct Mini, I think that actually increases the chances of there being a Direct in February as opposed to March. Not to mention, we don't have any release dates for April. Nothing. We don't know. There's no set release dates after March.
Yeah, we don't know anything in April. We don't know anything in
April.
Do we know anything in May?
Nope.
Do we know anything in May?
Well, I mean, there may be a couple like third-party things, but there's no set release dates from Nintendo published products after March. Nothing. So they need to have announcements fairly soon, and maybe they could do that in a trailer. For example, that's what they did with Kirby and the Forgotten Land. But keep in mind, that trailer for Kirby and the Forgotten Land, well, announced for March 25th, that trailer came out more than 2 months in advance. So if there are going to be releases for April and beyond, maybe they're going to follow a similar pattern here and announce them at least 2 months in advance, which means there has to be news in February, assuming that's going to hold true. Now, you could argue, well, maybe there won't be a Direct, there'll just be trailer drops. Yeah, there could be trailer drops, but in general, Nintendo does have general Directs usually, and they have the occasional trailer. But even when they have a trailer, they still usually talk about that game during a Direct, right? Like, for example, with Metroid Dread, we had the overview trailer a couple weeks before the September Direct. The September Direct happened. They still talked about Metroid Dread in that Direct. Same way, I think, is going to apply for Kirby as well. And for smaller things, like, say, for example, Advance Wars, which is rumored / leaked to be coming out in maybe April, that's something that needs to be in a Direct because it's more niche. If they put out a trailer for that, sure, some people are going to know about it, but it's not going to get a lot of attention. So you need to have a Nintendo Direct where you bring in a larger audience who are going to be coming in for different things, like Splatoon 3 or maybe Breath of the Wild 2, and that's where they'll talk about Advance Wars and announce the actual release date, and people will be like, oh, that game looks fun. Let me try that out before I get Splatoon 3 or Breath of the Wild. So,
for sure, yeah. I know, like one of my viewers and members, War Unicorn, he's really excited for Advance Wars.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, he would be one of the people who sees it and says, oh, I know what that is. We're finally getting a trailer for it. He would be like on it. But yeah, you're totally right. Most people, they either wouldn't know what it is or they wouldn't pay attention to it if they just did a trailer drop. So that totally makes sense.
Yeah, so assuming...
Advance Wars is listed on the eShop for April 8th.
Yes.
Kitano Tatsu says.
Yeah, it's been listed, but I don't know if it's officially been announced for April 8th. I'm literally double checking my eShop now, because I think they took that down.
Did they? Maybe that was just, an accident.
I'm double checking right now.
An accidental, kind of leak type of thing. Like, not a leak, but you know what I mean.
I'm double checking right now. Is it still on the eShop? Let's see. Advance Wars 1 2 Reboot Camp. Does it still show a release date for April? Okay, it has an estimated release date for April 8th. So it's not an official release date, it's an estimated release date. Which is strange. But it could come out April 8th. It could come out sometime in April. There have been other online shop listings for April as well. Point is, if Advance Wars is an April release, they need to make an announcement for that soon. And even if it's not Advance Wars, there's a good chance Nintendo's going to have something come out in April, and they need to make an announcement for whatever that is sooner than later, probably at least 2 months in advance. So, point is, a Direct in February makes a lot of sense. Now, again, it is conceivable that we have to wait all the way until March. That is a possibility, but because there is no January Direct, because there is no Game Awards announcements, it's a situation where, provided the pandemic doesn't get in the way, Nintendo would probably have a Direct by February, I would say. So that's the expectation, in my opinion. I think a lot of people will agree with me there. I don't think there's too much debate on this. Obviously, we never know for a fact. So it may be the case that there is not a February Nintendo Direct, but right now, signs, I would say, are pointing towards a February Direct.
I mean, it sounds like you make the case for it. Sounds pretty good to me. So
what would you like to see in a February Direct, Kazoo?
probably Splatoon. That would be cool. I would love more information on that game. We know Breath of the Wild 2 is, well, we don't know when it's coming out, but I don't know. I feel like it's probably coming out this year, maybe? I don't know. What do you guys
told us
think?
it would.
What?
Nintendo told us it would, so I hope.
Oh, they did. You're right. Yes, they told us it would.
Yeah, but some people still don't believe it.
I'm smart. Okay. Anyway.
Well, I mean, like to your point, though, a lot of people doubt it, though. So.
Paul Dunn says almost 200 episodes. He's right. You're 4 away from 200. Are you gonna have a big, spectacular next month for 200 episodes?
No.
No?
No. Probably
Why not?
I mean, like, what am I gonna do? I don't know. If the inspiration strikes me, maybe I'll try something different. The thing is, when I don't have a guest, I still kind of do the podcast. I just call it a Q&A. So if you count for the live Q&As, we've gone past 200. But when there's a guest on there, I guess we are still under 200. However, yeah, sure, we're getting close to 200. So I don't know. Maybe I'll buy fireworks and I'll light up the place. I don't.
You should.
I don't think I should set things on fire. But
maybe not. That might not be a great idea.
We'll see. We got a few weeks. We'll see what happens. We'll see.
Yeah, I just really want to see Splatoon 3. I like if they surprised us with like a Mario title, that would be pretty awesome.
How do you feel about Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope? Do you think that's getting pushed up? Do you think we'll finally get some more news on that?
Ubisoft, and Ubisoft is, it's not Nintendo, so it would make sense that it wouldn't get delayed. Maybe? Do you think? I don't know.
There are rumors that it's going to get delayed.
The rumors that it's going to get delayed?
Yeah, but rumors are rumors. They're not confirmed until they happen.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So true.
And all we know is it's coming out in 2022. That's the only public information that's out there. So it's not officially delayed until they push into 2023. I feel like if we don't get news, the game could still make it out this year regardless. But I was kind of hoping we would have learned more about this game by this point. So I'll say that I'm kind of hoping we get news on it for this in this Direct. If we don't, then to me that suggests it's at least getting internally delayed. It may still hit 2022, even if it doesn't show up in this Direct. But I'm hoping that we get news on Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope during this direct. That way it could come out like as a late summer release. So, you know, I'm kind of hoping for that, but we'll see. We will see on that one.
See, that would be... So, that would be, if it came out in 2022, it kind of seems like a holiday title. Do you think? Do you agree? Or maybe like a fall release.
Like, I mean, yeah, I could see it as a fall release. Like,
when did the first one come out?
August.
August. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I could see August. I could see an August release.
It's like August or September. Yeah, maybe I'm confusing with the expansion. Yeah. Its initial release date was August 29th. I think there was a Donkey Kong expansion though. And that
there was.
Came out, I want to say July. If I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken.
The following July of what, 2018?
Yeah.
Because that came out in 2017, right?
Yes. Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle Donkey Kong Adventure came out June. So, but that's a DLC, right? So
yeah, a DLC.
Yeah, but the initial release was August.
Not the game.
Yeah, either way though, right? Like June, August, those are summer release times. So I feel like this should be a late summer release. But
okay, I could see that. I could see it. I mean, I usually consider August to be fall because when I was a kid, that's when I was. It's
the transition month, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's not July and it's not September. So, anyway.
Yeah. It's tough to say. You know, I feel like there's a good chance I could show up there. But let me check with the chat here, see what you guys are saying. We'll come back to this. So, let's see here.
Yeah, sorry, I was reading the chat.
No, that's fine. Let's see.
I'm like looking away over here. If I'm doing that, that means I'm reading the chat.
This is a separate thing when I read it. DE Fox, I can honestly say after seeing the leaks that if the changes and additions of Pokemon Legends Arceus carry into the future Pokemon games, then the mainline Pokemon games are going to reach a whole new level. Yeah, there's a lot of adjustments and changes in Legends Arceus that I really hope are signs of things to come. And in general, that's what it is. If you take a look at the different Pokemon games, you can kind of see a progression. So you look at Pokemon Sun and Moon, they changed the camera perspective, they did away with the grid-like structure. It started to look more and more like a traditional third-person action-adventure kind of game. Not quite there, but there was to some extent, they had the ride Pokemon and a little bit more interactions with the environment with like the pictures and stuff. So they were progressing with Sun and Moon. And then, you know, with Ultra Sun and Moon was just a rehash, basically. But then on the Switch, you had Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, which was more of a traditional style game, but they did try out some of the new mechanics. Obviously, they had HD visuals there, but also they had a roaming Pokemon. You take the HD visuals of roaming Pokemon, you combine it with a lot of Sun and Moon mechanics, and then you get Pokemon Sword and Shield in the wild area and a controllable camera to some extent. And then when you take a look at the DLC for Sword and Shield, the wild area, the entire DLCs were the wild area. It was basically an actual, the whole game was the wild area, and you actually had like a little bit of a town in the Crown Tundra. So there's more of a progression of that style of gameplay. And now you have Legends Arceus, which is taking that style of gameplay to an even increased level right there. There's more things you can do. There's more interactions you can do with the environment. I don't want to spoil all the new stuff we're learning about Legends Arceus, but there's a lot of things that they're changing Legends Arceus that makes like the exploration of the world, that makes the believability of the world, your immersion, well, more like it's actually substantial. There's a lot of little things they're doing, and I can't say them because I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a lot of things they're doing. Visually, I will still concede that it is rough around the edges from what I've seen, but at the same time, compared to Sword and Shield, I do feel like there's a lot there that looks better, that looks more ambitious, and it's greater in scope. So overall, it's still, I would say, aesthetically pleasing. Obviously, room for improvement, but they're moving in a good direction, is the ultimate point here. And in terms of maybe us seeing some of these changes in Generation 9, there is kind of a pattern here. We are seeing what Game Freak is working on, and we're seeing things that they try out in the different Pokemon games. And while they might skip a game or two with some of the advancements, they ultimately do find a lot of these changes and improvements do find themselves in future Pokemon games, and there is a progression. So I would hope that for Generation 9, a lot of these cool things that they're trying out, a good chunk of them end up being in the next game. So I think it's promising. Absolutely.
It's a very open world experience. I haven't seen really anything on Pokemon Arceus, so I don't really know about it too much. I don't really play Pokemon either, so I tried out Let's Go Pikachu, but it wasn't really for me.
How do you feel?
The voices were fun to do though.
How do you feel about Legends Arceus? Are you gonna pick that one up?
I mean, I don't really plan to.
Okay.
But I'm sure it will be nice for those who enjoy Pokemon.
Yeah.
You said you're really excited for it, right?
Oh yeah, no, I'm very excited for it. It's looking pretty good from what I've seen. But I'm gonna continue on the chat here because we have been talking more about the direct. Let's see what some of you guys are saying. Josh Coleman, Nintendo better have a direct in February. Good evening, David Q. D Fox, I'm certain we'll have a direct in February. Okay, certain. That's strong. Josh Coleman, I remember the last February direct and I recorded my reaction and the Splat 3 hype was a little embarrassing. Splatoon 3 is going to be hyped and I do expect Splatoon 3 to be in the next direct. I think Splatoon 3 is going to be at the latest a summer release. They announced this game last year in a February direct.
They did?
Yeah, the game has been announced for almost a year at this point. And from the get-go, I thought the game was very far along. I think most people would be surprised if the game ends up coming out later than this summer. We don't really see Splatoon games come out beyond that.
I just liked to see the Inklings riding on espresso machines or whatever they were on. That was funny.
Yeah, no, that was cool. That's kind of how they can kind of like launch wherever they want to in the map now. Yeah.
Wait, the super jump?
Yeah.
That's the super jump ability?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
What the heck? How odd. But okay, I mean that's cool. I didn't realize that's what it was, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just like. Yeah. I mean anything that we can do to combine like Splatoon and coffee, and I mean those are two of my favorite things. So sounds good to me.
Yeah. And I mean the thing about Splatoon, right? So like the Splatoon 1 came out in May, Splatoon 2 came out in July. And then the Octo expansion for Splatoon 2 came out in June.
In April. Oh, June. Yeah. June. It did come out in June. I remember that because I remember playing it in the car on my way to my friend's wedding. I wasn't driving, but
I mean, the point is though, like the Splatoon games come out during the summer.
Yes,
and Splatoon fans have come to expect Splatoon content during the summer. So I think it's well positioned to be coming out around that time. And with Kirby and the Forgotten Land coming out as early as this March, it does leave quite a couple months before E3 for another big release. Splatoon 3, I think, is lining up for that. And even if it doesn't come out before E3, even if it comes out July, they need to have a major presentation before June. So in other words, May at the very, very latest, to blow out this game.
I would say that they need it. They need, the reason they need it is because of the earnings reports, right? So you have the first quarter is like September to
December,
October. I think it's October.
The calendar. Yeah, it's like it comes in quarters, right? October to December, January to March, April to June, July to September. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, yeah. And so they need to have like one every quarter, I think. I think they usually have a direct every quarter to get their boost their stock, I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. So I mean, they have to have, they try to get releases out for every quarter, absolutely. So, you know, between April and June, there's got to be at least one major title. Especially when we already know about a lot of major games to be coming out this year, like Bayonetta 3 and Breath of the Wild 2. Like, you know, they're going to have to space these things out. So, you know, I definitely think something's coming out between April and June, and I think Splatoon 3 is a pretty good bet for that. Either way, though, regardless of when exactly it comes out, if we agree it's coming out by that at the latest at the end of the summer, they're gonna have to give us a lot of information on this game, but well beforehand. Like I don't even think they can wait as late as May, because May, if you have a presentation in May, well, if E3 is gonna be in June, that's a little bit too close, right? So
It's too close.
You're really reasonably, you got to think maybe at the latest April. But even then, right? Like if you look at all the different Splatoon releases, they usually have a test fire to do a stress test on the different online servers. Nintendo has a new sort of online setup now, so they're probably going to do a stress test on that.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna.
And
be
there's going to need to be some time in between the actual release and the test fire, and they probably want to have a blowout of the game before the test fire. So in other words, really, I would say there's got to be a direct in either February or March, as history has shown us. And in this direct, there's going to be a Splatoon 3 blowout. So it's one or the other. We're either getting a whole bunch of Splatoon 3 news in February, or we're getting a whole bunch of Splatoon 3 news in March. One or the other. And because I'm thinking there's going to be a direct in February, I feel like, you know, it's all kind of connecting here. Splatoon 3 news is coming, and I'm pretty sure they're going to announce a test fire, because that's what they usually do. And we'll play that test fire before the game comes out a couple months beforehand. So I'm definitely expecting news on that within the next few weeks.
Yeah, so I think though they've been doing this a lot recently, where they announce another direct during the direct. So in the February or March direct, I could see them saying, or in the February direct, say they're going to do a February direct, they could then announce in March a Splatoon direct focused entirely on Splatoon.
Yeah, they could do something more dedicated.
They did this with Animal Crossing, and they did this with something else. But so I think that's very likely.
Yeah. The possibility of Splatoon direct, I haven't really taken that into consideration, but like they could do that too. That would be, I mean, they usually have. Yeah, like it makes sense for there to be a Splatoon direct at some point. Especially if like there's gonna be a lot of information that they're going to share on this game. They can't dedicate the entire February direct to just that, right? So maybe what they do is that they announce a Splatoon direct a little bit later down the road.
Yeah, I don't see them including Splatoon in this direct. I see them. Yeah, I would see them more announcing it for a later.
So you don't
time.
think? So are you suggesting that there will be a February direct, but they will not talk about Splatoon at all during this direct?
Suggesting that they will announce a future direct. They'll say, "Hey, Splatoon 3, remember that? It's still coming this year. More information in a later direct." That's what I think.
I don't know how exactly they're going to go about handling the information on this game. I'll give you that I think it could totally be the case that maybe they have a February direct and they say, hey, look, you want more news on Splatoon 3? Well, you're getting it real soon. Tune in next week at such and such time, and there will be a Splatoon 3 direct. Like, they could do something like that. Like, that's possible. I'm expecting some info on Splatoon 3 during this direct, right? But either way, like, Splatoon 3 will be mentioned to some capacity, and if it's not happening at the direct, it will be shortly afterwards, to your point. So, like, I think it is possible that like, it couldn't be handled in that way. But either way, to some effect, to some capacity, Splatoon 3 will be mentioned in an earlier Nintendo Direct. Book it. How exactly, we'll see. Josh Coleman, wouldn't a niche game like Advance Wars be forgotten in the midst of bigger first-party Nintendo games like Breath of the Wild 2, Splatoon 3, Xenoblade 3? I mean, sure. I mean, you could argue that if there's a whole bunch of other games to be excited about in a Direct, that people won't think about the other stuff. But then, if that was really the case, then why do Directs have a whole bunch of titles in them all the time already? Every Nintendo Direct, there's a lot of smaller titles in there, a lot of third-party titles, a lot of eShop titles, a lot of indie games. All that's always in the Directs. It's not like the Directs just have the big stuff and nothing else. If it was really the case that a lot of the smaller titles would be entirely overlooked because of the bigger stuff, then wouldn't you think that by this point that a lot of these smaller titles would no longer be in Directs? No. They are noticed, and they're actually paid more attention to because people come for the bigger stuff, but in between the bigger stuff, there are still things we have our eyes on, and we notice them, and some of them catch our attention, and we give them a try afterwards. So, I see your perspective, and while I don't know exactly how people are actually sort of like noticing these games, like what's to the extent of it, like what's the actual impact, but I would have to guess that because Nintendo still does it with all their different Directs, there has to be some level of impact there with these smaller games being there. So I would say that actually it's the opposite, and that the smaller games still being in the Directs is still beneficial to them. So, yeah. Let's see here. Dwan Davis, hey buddy, I do not forget about Bayonetta 3 coming out, and to bring you a Ninja Turtles game, I'm waiting for them 2 games to come out. Do not forget about that. Right, so actually there is the Ninja Turtles game, right? Like that is something I'm kind of expecting to be shown off in the Direct. With that, they've been kind of quiet about that. I actually have been thinking about that one. Bayonetta 3 though, I don't think we're gonna see Bayonetta 3 in the Direct, just because I think it's definitely like a second half of the year release. So I don't think there's really any need to mention it at all during this Direct. I could see it being discussed at E3, and it'll come out at some point in the second half of the year. That's pretty much it. Let's see here. Just kind of going through the chat here. Kitano Tatsu. Literally every game on the eShop that doesn't come out yet has an estimated release date. Yeah, pretty much.
Really?
Pretty much. Paul Dunn, yeah, we're almost at 200
that
episodes.
it's at April 8th? So we don't think that means anything?
Say it again?
So we don't think that means anything that Advance Wars said April 8th?
I mean, there's been like retail listings for around the time as well. It's not just the eShop listing.
So it might not just be a placeholder? Or
we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. Kim Isle.
You know, Zesty Core, to your point, October for Bayonetta, I mean, that's when Halloween is, right? So I guess, you know, you could see it.
It could be an October release. Not necessarily, right? But I see it somewhere between August and October. Like, I want to say, like, Astral Chain, which was another Platinum game, that came out August 2019. And I could see them putting it out then, yeah, August 30th, 2019. But then, when did they release Bayonetta 2? I mean, it was on the Wii U, so a different environment. But that came out September. It was a September release. Bayonetta 1's initial release, which is not a Nintendo system, was saved for release date.
It's Nintendo Prime. He's in the chat.
The initial Bayonetta came out October. On my birthday, October 29th, which is funny.
Nice! That's right after my birthday. That's awesome. Yeah.
Very nice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's see here.
Josh Coleman, do you listen to the Nate the Hate podcast? I'm guessing you do, because that's where the leaks are pretty much happening. I have seen a few of them. I did see the most recent one. I'm not sure which leaks you're specifically referring to. If you're talking about the Mario Rabbids maybe getting delayed, I did hear that from there. But other things like Xenoblade Chronicles 3, like that was not initially from the Nate the Hate, although he has also corroborated that information. initially, the initial report for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was from Imran Khan. There's a number of things that have been discussed on that show, though. Yeah.
Oh.
Let's see here. Josh Cohen added me. Because of the situation with COVID, it's pretty similar or worse in certain areas. Will Kyoto be shut down again, therefore delaying games like Breath of the Wild 2? I'm not really entirely sure what's going on with that. I feel like Nintendo has a pretty good handle on their development structure right now. Like, their games are coming out. Like, they're getting done. Legends Arceus was developed in Japan and it's coming out. Like, they're not stopping. They're keeping on. So I don't think so. It could cause impacts, I'm sure, but I feel like Nintendo's done. I think they kind of have a good handle on things, even with those issues that could be occurring. They've figured out a way to continue the workload continuing. I want to say we're a few years into this at this point. You know, this all started at the end of 2019. This all started. We're already in 2022, so you know I think they've kind of figured things out.
We're entering year 3 of whatever this is.
Yeah. Kitano Tatsu, yes, but on the other hand, if they didn't know when the game was coming out, why wouldn't they just say estimated release 2022? Sparks of Hope says coming 2022 on the eShop. Sparks of Hope has a confirmed release year for 2022. That's official information. The question is, will it be delayed? Because rumors are suggesting it will be delayed, and they haven't given us information on it. But I think just because Nintendo hasn't given us information, or Ubisoft just hasn't given us information, doesn't mean really much. They just haven't shown it off yet. It really depends on when. If it wasn't for the rumors, I'd still be thinking Sparks of Hope is for sure coming out late summer. Like, so, you know, I'm not even sure the rumors are true. It's just, they're rumors. We'll see if there's an announcement or not.
Yeah, the only thing really that can confirm a rumor is time, right? So you just gotta see if it's correct or not. But
hey, Nintendo Prime in the chat. You did mention that earlier, Kazoo. Yeah, maybe 1 month away from 200, because things do occur where podcast delays do happen. I just do a Q&A instead, but we're just a few weeks away from the number 200. So I see I have a few super chats here. Let me get to that. One of them is from Taker610. Thank you very much, Taker. Guessing Thursday, February 10th Direct. I'm feeling it. A February 10th Direct. Let's see. Let's see about that. Let me check out the dates on that. So February 10th would be on a Thursday, right? Yeah, that lines up. I can see it. I'll tell you that if it's not the 10th, I think it's gonna be on the 17th. One or the other. Yeah.
And if not the 17th, then the 24th. If we get a direct in February, how about that?
I think that's conceivable.
Hashtag logic.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess. I don't know what I want to see is more likely, the 10th or the 17th. In general, I tend to always go later than earlier when it comes to predictions with some of these things. Like, I feel like it's safer, but that's not always the case. Like, I was like, oh, you know what, Kirby's gonna come out in May. No, it's coming out in March. So, I don't know, maybe you might be onto something with the 10th date there. But at some point on a Thursday in February, probably not the first week. Yeah. So I have another super chat here from Dwan Davis. Thank you very much, Dwan Davis. Hey, I got a question about E3. I heard this year the 10 and I have no E3 this year. That's true. A lot of people talk about it. Are you saying that the E3 might be canceled this year? So I think I heard that they're
trying to understand that super chat. I didn't understand what he was saying.
E3 is canceled. I did see something. I think they're doing a digital event last I heard. There's no physical E3 occurring.
Of course.
Okay, so I think there's a rumor going around that E3 is probably canceled for 2022.
Gee.
On this, there's this article here from Dexerto. E3 2022 virtual event canceled according to industry insider. So a virtual event would mean not even the digital version will happen.
What? Why? Why though?
But it's just one industry insider, so I wouldn't 100% buy into that yet.
Oh, so it says that Jeff threw his opinion out, and people ran with that as fact.
Industry insider and GameSpeed journalist Jeff recently uploaded a TikTok discussing the latest announcement from ESA. During this clip, he claimed that ESA will probably cancel the online portion of the event as well. That doesn't... Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. So the entire rumor just stems from one person, so it's not like multiple different
Well,
people
I mean, Jeff Grubb knows what he's talking about, though.
E3
right?
is
Jeff Grubb's Game Mess, video games. I'm in my car, which is
that
where
is
I
the
don't
case with all rumors, so it's like,
It's possible. I think either way, though, there's still going to be news in the summer. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. Like, if your big worry is if Nintendo will have a Direct around that time, I think they'll still have a Direct around that time. It may not be exactly the same time because it's not being held to the E3 standard, but I still think there'll be a summer Direct. So fingers crossed, we still get it pretty much when we expect it to. So
I'm sure there will. Do you guys remember? Oh, Summer Game Fest 2022 is confirmed, says Nintendo Prime.
yeah, so the Games Fest
cool.
happens around E3 time, so
Yeah.
There still may be all of the E3 events around then. So it may not impact things too much.
Okay. Oh yeah, Dustprog says that too. Dustprog he's from my channel, by the way.
Yeah.
At least we will have Jeff Keighley with Summer Game Fest.
It's something.
Yes, Jeff Keighley. Gotta love him.
The Sean Kelcar added me. Remember when you thought Breath of the Wild 2 would launch on your birthday last year? You think it'll happen this year? No, I don't think it'll happen on my birthday this year. It's possible, Let's see. Because Nintendo games release on Fridays pretty much. And what day does my birthday fall on this year? My birthday falls on a Thursday this year.
Thursday? What?
No, a Saturday. It falls on a Saturday. Ooh.
See, I told you.
Yeah.
Told you.
No, I don't think so, though. I think more likely... I'm thinking... it depends.
What is that, guys? Hump day?
It really comes down to if Nintendo's going to have Breath of the Wild 2 come out in November or October, which I think is dependent upon if there's a big Pokemon release this year in November. I'm actually thinking there won't be a big Pokemon release this year, and they'll save that for early next year, like Gen 9, March 2023. But I'm crazy, so we'll see. But yeah, I think Breath of the Wild 2 is either a November or October release this year. So if it's an October release, it could come out close to my birthday, but I'm thinking November. Let's see here. All right, Josh Coleman added me. The leaks that Splatoon 3 will be getting shown, and then there will be a test fire. He also confirms Xenoblade 3 to be shown very soon. Splatoon 3 and a test fire, that's not really based off rumor. That's just historical precedent. Like, we've been talking about Splatoon 3 and there being a test fire for a really long time. Like, a really long time. It's not just basically since last September. We've been talking about this is how Splatoon 3 was shown off in a February Direct. So we'll see, but it's not necessarily based off rumor. Xenoblade 3, though, again, the initial Xenoblade 3 reports were from Imran Khan months ago, back in 2021. There have just been other insiders who have corroborated that story, including the Nate the Hate on his podcast. Let's see
podcast too,
here.
or does he just do Spawncast?
I'm pretty sure he's on the Spawncast as well. Yep. Yeah, I mean,
I know, does
he also
have-
runs
does he have another
he
one?
also runs direct feed games too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he has a podcast on that channel too, like a
So
separate.
Nate does his own podcast called Nate the Hate, which is a Nate the Hate channel. He talks about a lot of things there, but he also, I want to say, runs direct feed games, which puts out direct feed footage, and that's all of those have their own Twitter followings, and then he is also on the Spawncast as Nate the Hate. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a lot of different things going on.
Yeah, he's around. He gets around.
Yes, definitely.
All right, Freaky Deaky added me. With the 3DS discontinued and all of Nintendo's development assets going towards Switch, wouldn't you think even more stuff should be coming out despite the anticipated strong 2022? So I feel like Nintendo's been doing a pretty good job. Yeah, there have been a couple months here and there where it's not a lot, but in general, Nintendo's been maintaining consistent releases. I mean, yeah, February won't have anything, but Legends Arceus is coming out next week, and the last... there was a lot of good games that came out to close the holidays. They're gonna announce games for sure, and then we already know about Triangle Strategy and Kirby in March. So there's stuff coming. Absolutely, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming, and even if you assume just the things that are announced are coming and nothing else, it's not going to be that bad of a year. But Nintendo will fill up those gaps. For sure, which is another reason why I think there's going to be a February Direct, and they're going to make some announcements for things that we don't know about yet. Yeah, technically we don't know about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. That's one option. Metroid Prime's another, although I expect that at E3, not now. Donkey Kong is another possibility, but I'm thinking way later. In terms of smaller releases, I'm going to throw out maybe a Wave Race, maybe a Zero, maybe a Star Fox, maybe Pikmin 4 finally. I don't know if Pikmin 4 comes out this year, but there's just a lot of options, really. So
when is happening? That's the question.
When is what?
When is that happening?
When what?
Pikmin 4. When is that?
You want my best guess?
Yeah.
I think it comes out next year.
You think so?
Yeah. It could come out this year. It's just this year seems so stacked that I think it comes out next year. Because, 2019 they had Pikmin 3 Deluxe. And then this year, they just recently came out with the mobile game. And then we've seen the Pikmin in the Nintendo Park. So I feel like Nintendo's still keeping Pikmin in mind. Do you play the Pikmin Bloom, the mobile game? No. I do not.
Have you tried it at all? I have it.
No, I haven't yet.
I have it.
How is it?
It's good. I like it. I think it's pretty good. It's just basically like a step tracker, and then you can like you get seedlings, and then you plant them. So you plant them in here, and Discord is that's the Discord thing. Anyway, you plant them, and then you walk a certain amount of steps, and then it sprouts, and then you take it, you pluck it out like this, and then you can name it if you want to. It's pretty cool. And then you plant flowers, wherever you walk if you have enough seedlings or something. I don't know. It's pretty cool though. It's just like a step tracker basically.
Yeah, but it's interesting though, right? Because Nintendo is still doing things for Pikmin. I feel like they do have Pikmin in mind. That's why they're doing these different things. I think it is all meant to be a build-up for Pikmin 4. Now the question is, when does that happen? I don't know. We might just be about a year away from Pikmin 4. What if Pikmin 4 is the January or February release for next year? I don't think that's crazy. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point this year we see an announcement for Pikmin 4. I don't know if it's going to be an earlier release, but I do feel like at some point between now and the end of 2023, we're going to see Pikmin 4. That's what I'm feeling. I mean, I don't think Nintendo is just going to... It just seems like there's a current plan. Like, they've done these different Pikmin things within a relatively small window, and I feel like it would be weird for them to just go completely silent for a few years and then come out with Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 has been in development for years, apparently, so in my opinion, I think it's actually not that far off. And I think they're hoping that with whatever sort of momentum they've built up from 3 Deluxe and Pikmin Bloom, they're going to hope that sort of helps to increase the sales potential for Pikmin 4. It's still relatively niche compared to other Nintendo franchises, but I think it's going to find somewhat of a good audience once they bring it out.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely make sense for them to want to ride that momentum out, you know? So I think we should, I mean, I don't know why it's taken them so long. I guess we'll never truly know, but it will happen at some point.
Someday.
I know that.
Someday Pikmin 4 will occur.
Someday.
I really do think it's not that far off. I'm just not expecting it this year because I think there's a lot of stuff that can come out this year already.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess there's a lot of things coming out this year, but
yeah, there is a ton of stuff. But you know, let's tangent for a little bit. We'll come back to some direct speculation towards the end of the podcast again.
Okay.
And I feel like we've kind of already touched on Legends Arceus, but what I want to talk about right now, and we'll talk about this, and then guys in the chat, you can put out different questions, things you want me to discuss, and then we'll close things out. But Nintendo recently released Banjo-Kazooie for Nintendo 64 Online. I haven't got a chance to play it, but I will. I've just been pretty busy. But another sort of thing that happened around this time is that Nintendo actually patched up the emulation for Ocarina of Time, which has been the subject of a lot of criticism. There is this room in the Water Temple where you fight Shadow Link or Dark Link, and there's been a lot of noted graphical issues with the emulation on N64 Online in this particular room. So there's been no fog, and the water doesn't reflect. Now apparently the water reflects again. The room looks a lot more like the way it's supposed to. What this means is that Nintendo has some team making adjustments and improving upon the N64 emulation for Nintendo Online. And that's great news. That means that they actually are fixing things. So, hearing this news, Kazoo, does this make you feel a little bit more confident about N64 Online? Or are you still pretty hesitant about it? Or have you ever really... I haven't really gotten your personal opinion on it, but I know a lot of people weren't really feeling N64 Online when it first came out. How do you feel about it? Especially after this news.
Don't have N64 Online. So I can't really comment on it, but I will tell you that Banjo-Kazooie, like when I first started doing streams and stuff, I was using an N64, like with my computer pointed at the TV. And I was playing Majora's Mask, but everyone was telling me things about Banjo-Kazooie, and I was like, do you like Banjo-Kazooie? Do you blah blah blah? And I was really confused because I was like, what is that? I had never heard of it before. I made the channel I made my channel and took my name in 2011. And so I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really play a lot of video games up until that point. I played up until the point I started streaming, I played Nintendo and that was it. But I didn't have an N64 or anything. So people were
they assumed that because of your name that you were a fan of Kazoo from Kazooie.
Yeah, that's what people thought. And so I was like, I don't know what that is. I've never heard of Banjo-Kazooie before.
Have you played
Anyway,
it yet?
you said tangent, so I gave you a tangent.
Thank
there
you.
Go.
Thank you for the tangenting. Yeah. So you know, one, I think, have you gotten a chance to play Banjo-Kazooie yet?
Don't have.
Get on it. Get on it.
Okay.
Yeah. You got to get on it. For sure. But, you know, for me, I actually like what's happening with N64 Online, because they are adding games of interest at least month by month. Last year's Paper Mario, this last month and last year. Well, yeah, because last month was last year's stuff.
Last year.
Yeah. Paper Mario came out December. For January, we're getting Banjo-Kazooie. For February, we're getting Majora's Mask. Those are quality games, and we're hearing that they are improving upon the emulation, and that is the big criticism of N64 Online. So seeing them improve upon that, those are all good signs. Now, is it enough to compel people to pay for that higher price tag? Well, I mean, that remains to be seen. But I will tell you that with a February Direct, it's an opportunity for them to announce more additions to that, right? Like, we know that you get free DLC. You get the Animal Crossing DLC for free with that, right? But if you don't care about Animal Crossing, it doesn't make a difference to you. I'm not a big Animal Crossing guy. I haven't touched the DLC yet, even though I could technically play it for free. And I do have Animal Crossing. I just don't feel like going back to it, even with the free DLC. So, you know, but hopefully maybe they announce another free DLC pack. Maybe one for Metroid Dread. That'd be nice. Or another game. Maybe new Mario Kart tracks. That'd be nice. You know, there's so many things they could do. I'm not saying they will do, but there's a number of things they could do to kind of add more value there. And what we've seen so far, I would say, is relatively promising. Let's see here. Where are we at in the chat?
Yes, the chat.
All right. So, guys in the chat, put out any final questions or thoughts. We're going to close things out relatively soon.
Yeah.
In terms of Legends Arceus, I didn't have a dedicated topic on that. I'll say that for Pokemon Legends Arceus, everything we've seen so far, the game is looking really good. I'll say some things that I don't really feel like are spoiling anything, but like, for example, when you can release multiple Pokemon at once, and there's different sizes of the Pokemon depending on where you find them. There are alpha Pokemon, and then there's obviously the boss Pokemon. But like, some cool things you can do, you can actually run around as you battle. You'll actually even also see, like, for example, like if you release a Pokemon, you can walk next to it and it'll look at you. So just like a lot of like really like neat, subtle little things that they've done in Legends of Arceus that we have not seen in previous Pokemon games, which it's cool. There's an attention to detail there. Yeah. I mean, the podcast isn't entirely over yet, Super Chris. I'm kind of waiting on some questions or thoughts for people to put out there. So I do plan on going on for a few more minutes, but you know, it's dependent upon you guys. So
Elvin asked a question.
Oh, Elvin R. Yeah, you think any new mainline Mario games will be announced this year? That's a good question. So I don't think we're getting a 3D Mario this year. I know some people are talking about that. There was a rumor, because there's a rumor attached to the new Sonic game, and it sort of teased a new Sonic game and talked about Mario Odyssey 2. I don't think Mario Odyssey 2 is happening. I think the boat has sailed on that. I think Nintendo's hard at work on next big 3D Mario, and I think they're getting it ready for the next new hardware, which I do not think is that far off.
Not that far off.
No. And there's a lot of different things to consider here, right? Like Bowser's Fury, which was basically a new 3D Mario, just a smaller one, came out last year.
Oh, cool.
It came out last year. And we're getting the Mario movie at the end of this year. And people will argue, well, there's got to be a new 3D Mario to support the movie. If Nintendo's going to handle their movies in the same way they sort of handled mobile games, we're going to see the game to follow up the movie afterwards, not beforehand. We've seen Nintendo put out different mobile games, and then the core entry comes out after that, like 6 months, a year and a half after that. So I think what's more likely is what's going to happen, especially when taking into consideration the games we know about this year, like Splatoon 3 and Legends Arceus and Breath of the Wild 2, there's not really a need to come up with a 3D Mario this year. You're going to have all this cool stuff. You're going to have the Mario movie at the end of the year, and then next year, maybe when the Blu-ray's coming out, put out a new Mario Kart or put out a new 3D Mario, one or the other, and these will be closer to the release of new hardware. And you take a look at the history of new hardware releases for Nintendo, both Mario Kart and 3D Mario come out within about a year of the console's launch. So,
Or no, it still has not had its follow-up.
which one?
Mario Kart Tour, it hasn't had any follow-up yet.
You could argue Mario Kart Live Circuit.
I guess that's true. Wait,
Yeah.
that was that a Labo thing? I don't even remember.
It's for Switch. It's just software. You can like play it in your room. It's definitely a side Mario Kart project. It's not like a main thing.
Because it was like an AR thing, right?
Yes, augmented reality. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it.
Yep. Yeah. So I guess you're right. I guess they did have that. And that was. Hey, thank you, Rain Man.
Yeah, but
Rain
I
Man
mean,
likes my shirt.
to your point
Thank you.
Kazoo, like, I wouldn't. You could argue Live Circuit's the follow-up, but it's not a big new Mario Kart, right? And
it's not a mainline Mario Kart.
And there are rumors right now for a new Mario Kart. That team that's behind Mario Kart, their last game was ARMS. ARMS came out in 2017. We're in 2022. They've been working on something. But my point is that I just don't see Mario Kart or 3D Mario coming out without new hardware when we're so late into Switch's life cycle already. Now, I'm not saying that, for example, let's say the new Mario Kart is announced this year, it comes out next year. I can see that happening. And I can see it being a situation where it's still playable on base Switch, but it's like maybe in 4K on the new Switch 2 that comes out, say, holiday 2023. Right? Like, it could still be available for both systems.
It would be like a cross-platform type of situation for the next Mario Kart.
Yeah, no, I kind of see that. Yeah, and I think there's going to be I think Mario Kart's probably a better idea than 3D Mario, actually, if you wanted to, like, capitalize on sales potential of a Mario movie.
Probably. Honestly, yeah, probably.
Because it's going to have those different characters, and because Mario movie's going to have multiple characters already there. Also, Mario Kart has more selling power than 3D Mario. Even the 3D Mario is still pretty good. Like, they may do both next year. They can do both, right? Like, Mario Kart could come out summer, then 3D Mario could come out holiday next year, or vice versa. So, like, it's totally in the cards that both could happen next year. But the question was this year, right? So, again, well, I mean, they can make an announcement for one of them next year or this year for next year. They can do that. But in terms of saying they could be announced this year, that'll be relevant for this year, we just got a new Mario Sports game last year, which was Mario Golf, right? So I don't think we're getting another Mario Sports title immediately afterwards. Like, there was a Mario Tennis game that came out 2018, then they waited 3 years and came out with Mario Golf. So I don't know if they're going to follow up just a year later with another Mario Sports title, unless it's being developed by a different team, and say, for example, Mario Strikers. That'd be pretty cool. So maybe Mario Strikers.
I know a lot of people wanted that, right? Didn't a lot of people want Mario Strikers?
I do. I'm one of those people. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's a possibility. They can maybe do that. Like, the team that made Strikers is the same team that made Luigi's Mansion 3. Luigi's Mansion 3 came out in 2019, so we could see an announcement for a new Strikers title, I guess. Maybe. Another option, though, would be maybe a 2D Mario. So, we haven't gotten a brand new 2D Mario game yet. It's been a long time. Maybe we could see that. I think that's different enough from 3D Mario. It would do really well. I think that could be really cool. I would love to see what Nintendo could come up with for a new 2D Mario. Because we got Mario Maker a few years back, and we already have the new Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe port. Like, it'd be nice to see a new 2D Mario entry, because we haven't seen them do anything like it with new for that in a long time. Not since the new Super Mario Brothers U, which is not new. That's like came out like 2012. So it'd be nice to get something new for that, and I think this year would make sense considering the lineup of games that we're expecting to get this year. There's actually like a lot of big like open adventure games coming out this year. I think a nice blend of other stuff like a 2D Mario would be really nice to see, along with a Wave Race or an F-Zero. Fingers crossed.
Speaking of being 10 years since things have come out, Nintendo Land.
Ooh.
10-year anniversary in November.
Yeah, a Nintendo Land sequel would be really nice, right? And maybe they can use that some sort of cross promotion with the Nintendo Universal Park too. Like there's a lot of potential there.
Yes.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure.
that would be a great promotion.
Yep.
Like Nintendo Land 2. Nintendo Land was so cool. It was so cute. I loved Nintendo Land.
I miss
I
Nintendo
thought it
Land.
was great.
Yeah, making one specifically for the Switch, like there's a lot they could do with that. With the Joy-Cons and the IR stuff, and if they were to try out some more asymmetric gameplay, they could do a lot. Really, I mean, they could have 8 players. Like it would just there's so much they could do.
They could make it online.
That I feel like you would hope that would be a given, but it's not because it's Nintendo. So yeah. But,
At this point, it is a given, I would say.
is it though?
I think so. Because they've been making all of their games on. Sometimes the online is
Retroactively
so
with Super
bad.
Mario Party. Yeah. Yeah. I would hope.
Pretty Superstars is online though.
It is. Well, so to your point, maybe Nintendo's finally is finally on the right track.
That's what I think.
Hopefully.
I think that now at this point, it's pretty much is a given.
Mm-hmm. Looking at the chat here, DE Fox, the Ezio collection releases on the Switch next month, and since it's not listed on the eShop yet, it might be announced in a February Direct. Yeah, that's a good consideration. That could maybe happen. From the sounds of it. Dwan Davis, do you got a video game coming up tomorrow, yes or no? Oh, do you got a video coming up tomorrow, yes or no? So the schedule that I've tried to maintain as of late is I come out with a video Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, podcast Sunday. In general, that's what I try to do. Sometimes things have to get pushed up or delayed, but since I've been working from home with my new job, I've been maintaining the January schedule, and I've stuck with it. So expect a video Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, podcast Sunday. Sometimes there's delays, but throughout all of 2022, I've been pretty consistent with that schedule. They may come out a little bit later into the day once I'm actually done with work, but that's when I've been sort of maintaining. Going beyond that, actually I was kind of hitting the schedule even for most of December, I would say. So yeah, that's the schedule. Two videos Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, podcast Sunday. Yeah, or some sort of live stream on Sunday.
Cast or some sort of stream.
Something.
Q&A.
Yeah.
Q&A.
Nishant Kelkar, you think Breath of the Wild 2 in November and Xenoblade 3 in December is putting those games too close to each other? I do. Well, yes and no. I think they could get away with that, but in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I think this late into the system's life cycle, the Switch, I think Nintendo's going to avoid releasing big open games like a Xenoblade 3 in December. I think you put something in December because you really want it out to get some of the holiday boost sales, but you're just barely going to make it. I think when we look at things like Xenoblade 2 that came out December 2017 and Smash Ultimate that came out December 2018, those came out then because they really wanted those games out as soon as possible. But I think under normal circumstances, they would try to have them come out a little bit earlier. So if Xenoblade 3 is going to be ready, I think they're going to try to have it come out sooner than that. I could be wrong, but It's tough to say. And then again, if you take Breath of the Wild 2 into account, is there some overlap there? And I think there actually is overlap with Xenoblade and Breath of the Wild fans, because they're both going to be big open exploration games. They're both probably going to take over 100 plus hours for the average player. And yeah, so, you know, I think you're going to want them to be separated by a month as opposed to a couple weeks. But we've seen Nintendo put out big games not too far apart, even pretty recently, actually. So it's a tough call. But I'm going to guess, if I had to guess, I would say that we're not going to see Breath of the Wild 2 in November and Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in December. I think one of those two will be coming out at a different time. Either Xenoblade 3 comes out later or earlier. I don't see them coming out that late into the year together right next to each other. Freaky Deaky. I would love a new 2D Mario, like a true Super Mario World 2 with lots of hidden areas and secrets. Hopefully Nintendo isn't reluctant to that. Or I didn't understand the word Rada. Not sure. But I think we're due. I think we are due to release a mainline 2D Mario game. I think we're due for one. And I think Nintendo can make a really good one. I think they've just been waiting. There's been a lot of repurposed Wii U games and things to tide us over. I think Nintendo's gonna eventually have a new 2D Mario, and I could see it this year. I don't think that's a stretch.
I like 2D Mario. I like 2D Mario. I like 3D Mario too. Obviously. I really like 2D Mario. I think it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I love 2D Mario. I would love to see a new one that's has some real inspiration behind it. It's not very cookie cutter. That'd be really cool to see. David Targaryen, hello there. Breath of the Wild 2 or 3D Mario in holiday, Xenoblade in January, Breath of the Wild 2 or 3D Mario as a fiscal year closer. You're talking about them interchangeably. I don't think 3D Mario's is coming that soon. If it is, I'm okay with that. I actually could see Xenoblade 3 coming out March. I don't think that's that much of a stretch, actually. Although, right now, I'm of the frame of mind that we're getting a big new Pokemon generation at the end of the fiscal year. But that's my crazy theory that I'll talk about another time.
Your crazy theory?
Yeah. I mean, I could talk about it now. It's not, I've already touched on it before. It's just that with Legends Arceus coming out now in January, and you look at all the changes it's had, all the additions and improvements, all the new Pokemon that are in there in new forms, it really does feel like a bit of a generation extender. It's clear that Game Freak is making a lot of strides with their Pokemon development stuff and philosophies now with Legends Arceus. I definitely think it's like a Generation 9 teaser. And I feel that a lot of these mechanics are going to be integrated into Generation 9, but with it coming out the end of January, I do feel like it's too soon to see Generation 9 just 10 months later. I think there needs to be a bit of a push there. And I think, they probably can get away with Generation 9 coming out to close out the fiscal year. That way, they still get that fiscal year boost that they're going to want. But it gives Game Freak a few more months and a bit of a gap to market and commercialize things. So, I don't even, is commercialize even a word? I'm not sure. But anyway,
it is.
Advertise is the word I wanted to say. But,
okay.
Commercialize might not be, it doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, I just think that with Legends Arceus coming out already in January and all the things we're seeing from it, I think the next generation is not that far off. I know it's been 3-year cycles over the last 10 years or so, but I think at some point they're going to want to change the pattern a bit, and they have, because they outsourced Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl to ILCA, and they've done DLC and things like that. So we're already seeing a change of pattern here, and I think pushing things up just a few months will give them a little bit more time to polish, get things done, and space things out a bit. With Legends Arceus coming out already this year, I think it makes sense to have a bit more space there. And we've seen a lot of major releases come out to close out the fiscal year. So a Generation 9 of Pokemon, I think, would fit really well with that. Especially if Nintendo really wants to put out Breath of the Wild to, say, November of this year. I think it fits. Dwan Davis put on a chat here. Hey, but I got 2 questions. Are you going to put out a video tomorrow? No, no video tomorrow, but Tuesday. And I got another question. How is a game called ARMS? I think you're thinking about downloading. It's a good game. ARMS is fun. Yeah, ARMS is really fun. The OST is pretty good. Definitely, if you want a good arcade fighter that has, you could play with motion controls. It's pretty good. Definitely give it a whirl.
Stream that game again. That's a fun game.
Yeah, you probably get a pretty good price nowadays too. Like I don't think it's that expensive. So.
Oh really?
Think.
Okay. Cool.
How much is it on the eShop?
I need to stream that game again sometime.
How much is it on the eShop?
It's a fun game.
I'm looking it up. Nope, it's $60. It's full price on the eShop.
Yeah. I didn't think they would have that much of a sale on it because Nintendo doesn't do that.
Yeah.
They really did that game dirty by releasing it 1 month before Splatoon 1.
Splatoon 2.
Oh yeah, Splatoon 2.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
I was like, what?
Sorry.
Yeah, but it was a June release and a July release. Yeah, it still did pretty well. It had like a couple million. That's pretty good for a new IP.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. DE Fox put out a chat here. Another possibility is X being on the next system instead to more utilize its art style and massive world. Talking about Xenoblade X, right? Like saving that for then. It depends. Like let's say like another situation to consider for the Xenoblade thing. Maybe Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is not ready. They announce it or they tease it and they're like, hey, in the meanwhile, how about you guys play Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Switch and they release it this year? I mean, the Wii U could already run X, so the Switch is more powerful than that. They could still make the game like have a higher resolution, clean up the font, give it some quality of life improvements. It would still look and run better on the Switch, in theory. So they could do that. Yeah. ARMS did better than Skyward Sword on the Wii, says Sabo.
Really?
Did it? How much are...
Is that true?
I don't know.
What?
ARMS sales. Okay. Apparently when you go into ARMS sales, it doesn't go strict to the video game.
Oh no, were you getting some black market search results?
It was more about weaponry.
Oh,
so ARMS as
of
of
ARMS. Yeah, I got you.
Okay, this is not up-to-date information. As of December 31st, 2019, it sold 2.38 million, which is not super up-to-date.
Oh, really?
No. But I don't know if it's really sold a lot more since then. But Skyward Sword, I want to say, sold like 3.6 million or something on the Wii. But the sales are comparable, which says a lot.
Yeah, Skyward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Well, I'll find it.
I don't think we have exact information on that, but I mean the point is that their ARMS sold a few million, which is pretty good for a new IP, I would say. There's a lot of things that haven't sold that well that we talk about all the time here on the channel. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good for a first go around. So yeah. Last thing I'll touch on, and then we'll call it a night here. Can ARMS get a sequel?
What do you
I don't
think?
know. I don't know. Maybe on the next system, I could see them doing a sequel. Not on the Switch.
Enjoy that. I would enjoy an ARMS sequel.
It could be fun.
I think that would be pretty neat.
Yeah. Last question here I'll get. It's not even a question, it's just something that was brought up in the chat, and I want to touch on it. Sweet Life of Dio Brando. Switch 2 in 2023 would have me hype. It would have me hype as well. The Switch has been going since 2017, early 2017. We are just a couple months away. Not even. We are like 5 to 6 weeks away from the Switch being out for 5 whole years. And it's still going with lots of great games. And I think it's going to have great games in 2023. And, you know, let's say Switch 2 comes out the end of 2023. The Switch is still going to be relevant for a couple more years after that. Like, I think there's going to be cross-platform releases. Nintendo's still going to push the Switch for a while. Which means I think the Switch is still going to be relevant until like 2025. So for 8+ years, I think the Switch is going to be getting new games. Which would be the longest ever for any Nintendo system. But, you know, that all is assuming that Switch 2 comes out late 2023. It could come out 2024, and then I think the Switch could last even longer. But I think Nintendo's going to want a bit of a transition there. And with these signs or murmurings of a new Mario Kart and this speculation of a 3D Mario given the Mario movie, I think those are actually signs that Nintendo perhaps could be gearing up for a new system, because those are the kind of things that you would have for a new system, a new 3D Mario, a new Mario Kart. So, you know, there's that to consider. But then with Metroid Prime 4, which I also think could be coming out next year, that's also potentially a cross-gen release. So, you know, that's something that could benefit from a more powerful system. Now, when I say cross-gen, it really just comes down to how Nintendo handles that, right? Like, because it may just be all the same cartridges, you know, just one system just runs things better. And at that point, you may just argue it's more of a mid-gen refresh. But, you know, we'll see how Nintendo handles it. But I expect new hardware in 2023. Every 2 years, we get new hardware, basically, every 2 to 2.5 years. It just, you know, we got Switch OLED last year, Switch Lite 2 years before that, Switch 2 years before that. So, either way, something big's coming next year. I mean, we got big things coming out this year. I just don't think it's gonna be hardware. Lots of cool stuff. But yeah.
David thinks that Metroid Prime is 2024.
I don't know.
To coincide with the next presidential election.
I don't know about that. Maybe. I think Metroid Prime Remake coming out this year is perhaps implicative that Nintendo wants like a Metroid game every year, but we'll see.
Trilogy?
No, just Prime Remake.
What?
Just Metroid Prime 1 getting remade.
Did they announce?
It's not announced. It's just rumored.
Okay, it's not
It's
announced.
just rumored. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they restarted development. They announced it to restart January 2019. So to expect a holiday 2023 release, that's more than 4.5 years later. So let's see, January 19 to 2020, 2021, 2022. Wait, 19 to 20. Yeah, 19 to 20, 21, 2022, 2023. And then at the end of 2023, that's more. It's almost 5 years since they announced the restart, but they probably started before they announced that. So we're talking about like a 5-year development time, if it comes out holiday 2023. We're talking about beyond that. We're already going 5+ years of development since the restart, not since they announced the actual development back in 2017. So you know, I think 2023 is the time. But if it ends up being 2024, whatever.
Oh, you're saying 5 years. Oh yeah. 5 years would be when they restarted. Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying. I get it.
Well, 19 to 20. My math might be wrong. 19 to 20. Then 21, then 22, then 23. Yeah, no, I'm right. 4 years. And then that's from January. So if it comes out, say, October, that's more than 4.5 years, right? And if we talk about like January 2024, at that point, it's 5 years since the restart. So I don't know if it would be that long. You got to keep in mind, they probably started some stuff before they announced the restart January 2019. They probably started late 2018.
Yeah, before they started.
So,
it probably wasn't that long, though, before they announced it.
But then COVID obviously delayed things, too, so,
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah, it's been a long time, guys. Do you want to do this one more question? I got one more question about the game, ARMS. Is a combat, can you do combos and stuff, especially? It's not like a traditional fighting game. It's more like, I mean, there might be a demo, but it's very like you do attacks, like you punch, the game punches. You can do specials and grabs and shields. It's more straightforward. I would say it's more comparable to Smash, but like in 3D. If that makes sense. Yeah.
I like that actually.
Think of it. Think of it. It's
it.
kind of like Punch Out, actually. Yeah, it's kind of like Punch Out. Yeah, it's like Punch Out, except you have range. That's what it is. So yeah. Anyways, guys, I think we've reached the end of the podcast tonight. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching the show. Leave a like, that we appreciate it. If you haven't seen the channel before, give us a subscribe. Make sure to check out TheYellowKazoo. Her channel is linked in the description below. But we'll see you all really soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.